Marjorie,
Me.
you're
I
off.
teach university,
Thank
I
you.
teach corporate clients, and I have learning styles published by Delta Publishing. When I was in high school, I tried to learn French, and it was the audiolingual method, and it drove me crazy. I couldn't manage at all to understand what they were saying. Is this better now? And we were told not to picture the words. But this was for me an absolute disaster. And it was years later, I hope I'm clicking in the right place here. This was the problem. I didn't know that there were different styles of learning. I thought it was just me. This got me very interested in learning styles and learning preferences. And I went on to start doing research on the subject. I'm conducting a research project with university students at the moment. And in general, what are learning preferences? Well, they are the filters that we use to take in information. It's how we actually store the information and remember it. It's what goes on in our brains, the cognitive processing, how we organize it, our approaches, and actually our patterns of behavior. So if we take a look at why this is important in the classroom, I think most of us would agree that classes have a variety of types. Don't have one type of learner in the classroom. And we, as teachers, teach in the way we ourselves learn. So when we mix our methods, we simply reach a peak. We also help our learners stretch. Each of us gets stuck in the style we're most comfortable in. Learning to move beyond that is very important. And as Tessa Woodward says, we can harmonize. First, we reach our learners where they are, and then we challenge them. And by doing this, we encourage them to develop their own successful strategies, and we give them metacognition of the styles, which gives them more insight into what they and others are doing. And that helps to build tolerance. So if we take a look at what preferences are not, there's a lot of controversy about this, but they are not an excuse. They are not the reason you're not learning. They're not a pigeonhole method. I don't look at my students and say, oh, you're visual, so you can't do this exercise. This is absolutely not what we're doing. Giving information. They're not right or wrong. Styles are just styles. It's like being right-handed or left-handed. They are absolutely not limitations. They also don't indicate competence in any way, and they are not judgmental. So a quote from Andrew Cohn says, although numerous distinctions are emerging from the literature, three categories of style preferences are considered particularly relevant and useful to understanding the process of language learning. Sensory perceptual, which is our VAK model, cognitive, which we're coming to, and personality-related preferences. So Theodora's already talked about this. Visual is learned by seeing, the auditory is learned by listening and speaking. And then in my research, I've discovered that kinesthetic seems to break down into motoric, doing things, and emotional, feeling. Moving on to the next model is the global analytic. The globals, for the most part, like to see the whole picture, and they learn with their heart. Their feelings are important to them. The analytics, on the other hand, are much more interested in details and much more interested in learning with facts and, as we say, in the. And the third model I'm just quickly going to present is what's called mind organization, created by a colleague in the States, where she says we perceive concretely with by touching, by feeling things, or abstractly through thoughts or through our emotions. And then we organize systematically or non-systematically. And this gives us four patterns of behaviors of learners. The power planners are our structured learners, plan ahead. Our radical reformers push the envelope or the limit. They like to be unique. Our flexible friends need to know where they can get help and like working with other people. And our expert investigators may like working alone. They may be skeptical. They're the ones that ask the questions nobody else asks. They need facts and they enjoy research. So what comes out of this are unique profiles, And in looking at the models I've shown you, there are actually 32 profiles all together. So if we go back and we see which of my senses do I use to perceive information and how do I store and recall it, we come up with our idea of the VAK model. If we're looking at the abstract or concrete situations or the general information or details, it deals more with the global analytic. And the emotions or logic to understand would also go along with the global analytic, also fits in with the mind organization. And then organizing systematically or non-systematically comes up in the mind organization. Basic message I'd like to get across here is why activities appeal to different types. When we use different sensory channels, so we show them something, we play something, we speak, we play a song, we sing, we use different types of cognitive processing. We allow them to use either the whole picture or go from details to the picture. We allow them to organize differently. We give them the chance to be random or systematic in class. We help them make use of their strengths. This gives them the chance to discover new strategies. We accept how they learn. And what I find in all of this is that we give them a feeling of progress. I see that I'm actually a minute early, which means that I could expand a bit on this. The research project I'm doing at the moment is with students in multicultural classes at the university in which they fill in surveys or questionnaires on their styles. They then keep a learner diary through the semester, and what I ask them, aside from strategies, I ask them which activities have helped them to learn. And the answers I get are fascinating. Someone will say, I love the activity with the ... because it was pair work. Another person chooses the same activity and says, I loved it because it had pictures. Another one chooses the same one and says, I loved it because I spoke to another person during the activity and I remember what they said. And when they're aware of that, this is an enormous help for them, both in and outside the classroom. So I'm just putting my email in the chat box, although Bob said it will be available. If anyone is interested, you can get the book, Spotlight on Learning Styles, which has all the background on this. And the questionnaires are photocopyable along with strategies, tips, and so on. And I'm working on a new book for creating activities for different types out soon in the States. Okay, this was fun.
This was wonderful. And can you tell us anything about, you have an extra minute left, so can you
You're
give a
talking
little
about the
plug
ITEFL
for
conference, I
April?
assume. The 50th conference is coming up. Yes, I have the
Yes.
dates in my head. You're wrong. I think it's the 12th of April. Is that right? I don't want to give the wrong dates again. Is the
12th,
SIG
I
day,
believe.
then the 13th,
12th is the
16th
SIGs.
in Birmingham. Big conference. Last year we had 2,500 people, so we are expecting even better turnout for Birmingham. And we're all very excited about it. Lots of surprises coming at this conference. And a big web conference coming up. ITEFL free to all web
Great.
conference from the 23rd and 24th, just before the clocks change of October. So you can sign up, go to the ITEFL website, www.iatefl.org, web events, have a look, sign up for the web conference and see you online. Great, hope to meet you, Judy. I lived in New York for 6 years.
Great.
Wonderful.